Hey guys, welcome to Skeleton Guy Stories. Tonight's tale will make you think twice about answering messages from unknown numbers. When strange pictures arrive at 3 a.m., they might be luring you towards something ancient and hungry. Something with far too many teeth that's been waiting for the perfect vessel. So dim the lights and enjoy the story. After a long drive, I sit on the sand, squinting in the harsh sunlight. The sound of kids playing and the seagulls' cacophonous squawking blend together over the rolling waves. Salt water and sunscreen scent the surrounding air. My dad and brother set up the umbrellas and chairs while I lounge in the singular chair I set up. Yes, I know, I'm lazy. The beach is crowded today. Summer's peak always brings the tourists out in droves. The shoreline is dotted with colourful umbrellas and beach towels as far as the eye can see. Families chase toddlers, teenagers toss frisbees, and the occasional beach vendor trudges through the sand, hawking overpriced drinks and snacks. "Oh hey, did you see that picture they got of the moon?" Jeremy says. He drops the umbrella in a hurry to grab his phone. In doing so, he cuts his arm on the metal pole, a jagged gash about 2 inches long. "Jesus, watch what you're doing," says my father, his weathered face creasing with concern. "At least I'm doing something," Jeremy snaps back, examining the cut with a wince. "Part of me feels guilty, but what am I to do? It's not my fault he's always been a dumbass, and I've always been the favorite. The truth hangs between us, unspoken but understood. I've always been the careful one, the planner, the one who thinks before acting. Jeremy is all impulse and enthusiasm, rushing headlong into situations without considering consequences. Jeremy dusts sand off the screen of his phone with his shirt, a goofy grin growing upon his face. I can tell he's excited to tell me something. I roll my eyes in anticipation. "They found life," he says breathlessly. "Can you believe it? Look at this. It looks human. Really weird." He shows me the picture on his phone, but it's in grainy black and white. It shares similarities with an ultrasound picture, which makes sense. Funny, I guess babies resemble aliens when they're first born. Jeremy certainly did. "No, that's not real," I retort, squinting at the blurry image. "No, dude, it's from NASA," he insists, his eyes wide with excitement. "That can't be right," I say. "Come on, man, that even looks fake. You believe everything you're told. Last year you believed you spotted that skinwalker near Megan's house," I say, my nostrils beginning to flare. "I did," he says, defensiveness rising in his voice. "Whatever," I say, rolling my eyes. I want to enjoy the beach, not argue. Our childhood pattern reasserts itself, him desperate to impress, me dismissing his efforts. It's a dance we've been doing for 20 years now. Jeremy huffs, putting his phone back into the chair, stuffing it into his sandy shirt, and picks up the sunscreen. Despite arguing at the store, he insisted we buy this new brand, this mineral sunscreen crap. See, Jeremy's gotten into a wacky mindset lately. Now he's worried chemicals and artificial stuff are in everything. He won't buy any product if he doesn't scan it on this stupid app he bought. Yes, bought. I mean, who even pays for apps anymore? I remember the exchange in the store vividly. We'd been standing in the skincare aisle, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, when Jeremy had grabbed this odd tube from a display I hadn't noticed before. "Look at this," he'd said, brandishing the tube like a prize. "All natural, no chemicals. This is the good stuff." I'd taken one look at the grey tube with its minimalist black text and scoffed. "No brand name. Where did you even find this?" "It was on that end cap," he'd said, gesturing vaguely. "It's new. The guy restocking said they just got it in. And you trust some random stocker? More than I trust the chemical companies, he'd retorted. Now I watch as he uncaps the tube. The sunscreen is odd. First, it's the color grey. Who'd ever heard of grey sunscreen? Second, it smells of the ashes of a fireplace, if you had poured water on them, say, 5 minutes ago. Real specific, I know, but that's the only way to describe that stench. Me, I refuse to use it. I'll stick to my harmful chemicals or whatever. Dad, ever the peacekeeper, had reluctantly agreed to try Jeremy's find. If it keeps the sun off, that's all that matters, he'd mumbled, clearly wanting to end the argument. Now he sits in his chair, nose buried in his paperback thriller, the grey substance already slathered across his shoulders and balding head. Disgusted, I watch as Jeremy coats his body in this grey goop, mixing it with the sand that covers him. I can't help but laugh at how ridiculous he looks. As he reaches for his arm, he continues slathering the horrid concoction onto himself. Not paying any mind to the gash he received a few minutes earlier, he winces. Hey, idiot. You have a cut there. You shouldn't put sunscreen on it. You should. I pause my words at the sight of pus pouring from Jeremy's wound. It's overflowing and has the texture of sea foam. The cut, which had been a clean slice just minutes ago, now looks infected and angry, the edges puckering and turning an unnatural greenish hue. What the fuck? Jeremy yells, as his skin bubbles and turns green. The transformation is rapid and horrifying. His normally pale skin blooms with patches of emerald and moss, spreading outward from the cut like spilled paint. With no warning, his body swells, taking on the likeness of a bloated whale. I dart back, knocking my chair over violently in the process. Dad! I shoot my father a concerning glance. He's slowly lowering his book, confusion etching his features as he watches his son's transformation. Before I can say any more, boiling hot green goo splashes onto my father. In an instant, it melts through him, leaving a smoking, gaping hole in his stomach. I'll never forget that final look on his face, of pure confusion and fear, as if he couldn't comprehend what was happening. His mouth formed a perfect O of surprise, his eyes locked with mine for one terrible moment before the light in them dimmed forever. Now, in place of Jeremy, a ghastly green acid-like substance is boiling through the sand. My own father lies slouched over in his beach chair, his charred entrails exiting the wound in his gut, steam rising from the viscera as they cook in the hot sun. Around us, the peaceful beach scene transforms into chaos. A woman nearby, who had been applying the same grey sunscreen to her toddler's shoulders, screams as the child's skin bubbles and dissolves. The little girl's cries turn to gurgles as her throat liquefies. The mother, her hands coated in the substance, watches in horror as her own fingers melt away, dripping onto the sand like candle wax. Coming close to passing out, I managed to be saved by pure instinct. I knew if I stayed on that beach any longer, I'd be dead too. Unshakable urges to vomit overcome my body as I trudge forward in the wet sand. Puke plummets out of my mouth, covering the sand beneath my feet. I think about how disgusting this situation is, however, I lack the ability to do anything about it. The sounds of beachgoers screaming fills the air, drowning out the relaxing waves heard not too long ago. It's spreading. People are running in all directions, some heading for the water, others for the parking lot. But many don't make it far. Those who use the grey sunscreen are transforming, their bodies melting, exploding or morphing into unrecognizable shapes. In the distance, amongst the chaos, I spot a man screaming in the waves, jolting his arms. Only where his arms should be were pulsing red tentacles made out of his blood, whipping wildly in the air. Each tentacle ends in a mouth-like orifice, snapping at the air. As I watch, horrified, he sinks beneath the waves, pulled down by his own mutated limbs. I knew we should have stuck with the regular sunscreen. As I continue my desperate escape, I trip over an abandoned beach bag, falling face first into the sand. The grit scratches my cheeks and fills my mouth with a mineral taste. Spitting and coughing, I push myself up, only to freeze at what I see. A few yards away, a young couple had been sunbathing. The man is now a writhing mass of flesh, his skin rippling as if something is moving beneath it. The woman beside him is worse. Her face has split open down the middle, revealing not bone and brain matter, but a pulsing purple organ that protrudes obscenely from the cavity. As I watch, the organ extends outward, unfurling like a grotesque flower, revealing hundreds of tiny, needle-like teeth lining its interior. In my escape, I noticed one man who seemed unfazed by the horror unfolding around him. Dressed in unassuming beach attire, khaki shorts and a plain blue t-shirt. But oddly enough, he appeared to be taking notes on a small electronic device. While everyone else ran screaming or transformed into monsters, he calmly observed and recorded, his expression clinically detached. As I ran, I caught his view. He raised his arm and pointed at me. I can see he's speaking to somebody, possibly on a headset. This caused me to sprint even faster, my heart hammering against my ribs. Who was he? Government, military, or something worse? The parking lot is a scene from hell. Cars try to leave simultaneously, resulting in a gridlock of honking horns and screaming drivers. Some vehicles have crashed into each other in the panic. Others sit abandoned, doors flung open as their owners fled on foot. I weave between the chaos, grateful that we're staying at a hotel within walking distance. I made it off the beach and am now sitting in the hotel room by myself, too shaken to even clean up. The sand from the beach still clings to my skin, mixing with cold sweat. I should shower, but I can't bring myself to move from the bed. Every time I close my eyes, I see Jeremy's body swelling, the look on Dad's face as the acid ate through him, the woman with the pulsing toothed flower where her face should be. I tried to look up the mystery sunscreen brand on my phone, but found no results. Absolutely nothing. No company, no recalls, no warnings. It's as if it never existed. But it seems like something more. Did the other beachgoers use the same sunscreen too? That couldn't be the case. The transformations were too widespread, too coordinated. And what about the guy in the water? Oh God, I can still hear the screams. What the hell caused all this? The television in my room flickers with emergency broadcasts. The authorities are calling it a chemical spill and warning people to avoid all beaches in the area. They're implementing a quarantine zone that extends 5 miles inland from the shoreline. But I know the truth. This was no accident. The man taking notes, the untraceable sunscreen, this was planned. I try calling 911, but the lines are jammed. Then I try local hospitals, police stations, even the Coast Guard. Nothing gets through. It's like the whole communication system is overloaded or deliberately blocked. I even tried posting about it online, but my connection keeps failing whenever I try to upload anything about the incident. My deep thoughts are interrupted by some commotion outside my room. Heavy footsteps in the hallway, too many to be housekeeping. I think someone's at the door. The knob rattles, once, twice. Then silence. The peephole darkens as someone looks in. I hold my breath, pressing myself against the wall beside the door. 3 loud knocks, the sound reverberating through the thin door. "Management," calls a voice. "We're conducting a wellness check on all guests due to the incident at the beach." But something in the voice raises the hairs on my neck. It's too measured, too calm for someone dealing with the aftermath of what just happened. And through the crack beneath the door, I can see multiple shadows. I remain silent, not daring to move. "We know you're in there," the voice continues, dropping all pretense of friendliness. "We have reports of a witness who left the primary containment zone. We need to debrief you." Primary containment zone. Debrief? These aren't hotel managers or first responders. These are the same people who are behind the sunscreen, the same organization as the man taking notes. The doorknob turns again, more insistently this time. Then comes the sound of a key card sliding into the lock. They're coming in. I dash to the bathroom, locking the flimsy door behind me and climbing into the tub. The window above is small, but I might be able to squeeze through. As I work the rusty latch, I hear the hotel room door open, followed by the sound of multiple people entering. "Check the closet," someone orders. "You two, the bathroom." The bathroom doorknob jiggles. "Locked," a voice reports. "Break it down," comes the reply. As the first thud hits the bathroom door, I finally get the window open. Outside is a narrow ledge, then a 15-foot drop to the concrete below. It's risky, but staying is certain death, or worse, ending up as another test subject for whatever sick experiment claimed Jeremy and Dad. The bathroom door splinters. I hoist myself up and begin squeezing through the window, scraping my shoulders on the frame. Behind me, the door gives way. Subject is escaping, east side of the building. I tumble out onto the ledge just as hands grasp at my ankles. Kicking free, I lose my balance and fall, the ground rushing up to meet me. Pain explodes through my ankle as I land, but adrenaline keeps me moving. Limping, I make for the crowded street beyond the hotel, hoping to lose myself in the fleeing tourists and locals. Behind me, I hear shouts and the sound of radios crackling. They're organizing a search pattern, calling in reinforcements. Whoever these people are, they have resources and coordination that go beyond local authorities. As I merge into the panicked crowd, I glance back at the beach one last time. Dark helicopters hover over the water, and figures in hazmat suits are moving across the sand, collecting samples and containing the still transforming victims. This was never about sunscreen. It was about something else entirely. I don't know what I witnessed today. I don't know who's responsible or what they hope to achieve. But I do know that the world just changed irrevocably, and I'm one of the few who saw it happen. I need to find somewhere to hide, somewhere to recover, and plan my next move. Because one thing is certain, they won't stop looking for me. And if they find me, I'll wish I'd been on that beach with Jeremy and Dad, melting into the sand under the relentless summer sun. A siren wails in the distance. I duck into an alleyway, pressing myself against the cool brick wall. My phone buzzes in my pocket, an emergency alert. Looking at the screen, my blood runs cold. Hazardous materials incident. Shelter in place. Do not trust unknown individuals. Don't trust unknown individuals. Is this a legitimate warning, or are they already controlling the narrative? As people around me check their phones with worried expressions, I make my decision. I power off my device, removing the battery for good measure. Then I limp deeper into the alley, away from the beach, away from the authorities, away from whatever new horror awaits on the sun-drenched sand. The grey sunscreen wasn't just a product. it was a weapon. And somewhere, someone is watching the results of their experiment unfold with clinical detachment, taking notes on a small electronic device, already planning the next test. And I'm the variable they didn't account for, the witness who got away. This is it, guys. Hope you liked the story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a new nightmare. Good luck.